Most people think they do not have a hobby. What they actually have is a hobby they have not found yet. The reason is not laziness or lack of time. They have been looking the wrong way, waiting to feel excited, picking something that sounds good, dropping it the moment it gets hard. That is not how hobbies work. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what yours is. A hobby is any activity that pulls you in without a reward attached. Not for money, not for approval. The doing itself is the point. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying what he called flow. The state where you are so absorbed that time disappears and effort feels effortless. Flow occurs when two conditions are met. The challenge is slightly above your skill level and feedback is immediate. Not delayed. Not dependent on someone else. Immediate. That is the fingerprint of a real hobby. Here are 4 questions that will find yours. Question 1. What did you do as a child that made adults tell you to stop? Not what got you praise. What made someone say, "Put that down. You have been doing that for 3 hours. Come and eat." Childhood absorption is pre-social. Before you learned what was impressive or acceptable, you gravitated toward things with zero agenda. That pull was real. It was you, unfiltered. Were you building things, taking things apart, drawing on every surface, making up stories and rules for imaginary worlds, performing for anyone who would watch? The specific activity may not be the hobby itself, but the drive behind it almost always points to the category your hobby lives in. A child who took things apart is probably most alive in hobbies involving systems, coding, woodworking, chess, mechanics. A child who performed for anyone who watched will likely find their hobby in expression, writing, music, comedy, content creation. Question 2. What do you do when you are avoiding something else? Procrastination is one of the most honest signals your brain sends. When you sit down to work and spend 2 hours doing something else without noticing, that something else is worth examining. Not the scrolling, the thing you actively did, the thing that required effort, but you chose it anyway. Rearranging your space, cooking something elaborate, looking up information about a topic you have no practical reason to care about, sketching in the margins, playing an instrument badly. That is not a problem. That is a signal. Your brain is telling you what it would rather be doing. Question 3. What are you willing to be bad at? Most adults abandon potential hobbies the moment they are not immediately good at them. They try painting once, produce something disappointing, and conclude they are not a painter. But early incompetence is not a signal you have the wrong hobby. It is a signal you have a hobby in progress. Anders Ericsson's research on skill acquisition showed that what predicts long-term growth is not early talent. It is sustained, voluntary engagement. The question is not whether you are good. It is whether you want to keep going even when you are not. What activity, done badly, still feels better than not doing it at all? That tolerance is the marker of a genuine hobby. Question 4. When do you lose track of time? Not passively, not while watching something. Actively. When you are doing something and look up and 2 hours have passed and you are surprised and slightly annoyed because you wanted more time. That is flow in practice, the most reliable indicator that you have found something real. Think back over the last month. Any activity where time moved differently? That is your starting point. Do more of that. Do it deliberately. Do it when you do not have to. One thing most hobby advice gets wrong, it treats hobbies as fixed categories. But hobbies are not categories. They are experiences. And the same experience lives across many activities. Chasing the feeling of making something that did not exist before? That lives in woodworking, pottery, cooking, sewing, gardening. Chasing the feeling of solving a problem with a clean answer? That lives in chess, coding, puzzles, strategy games. Chasing physical mastery? That lives in martial arts, dance, rock climbing, yoga. Do not look for the hobby. Look for the experience. Then find the activity that delivers it. A hobby is not a luxury. It is one of the primary ways your nervous system recovers and your sense of self stays intact. You do not need the perfect hobby. You need the next one to try. The one connected to what you did before the world told you what to be. the one you do when avoiding something else, the one you are willing to be bad at, the one that makes time disappear. Start there. Try it badly. Keep going. That is the whole method.